Another thing that I added that I haven't shown you guys yet is the fuel system. So I got this from Science of Speed. It was not very expensive for what you're getting. You're getting a a AEM fuel pressure regulator. So we know that's a good quality part. I've been using these for like 15 years, so they just work. So they're using that, and then they also made all these nice lines, and they're all custom fit. So I'll quickly just explain how this fuel system is actually going to work. And I think that even when I first kind of started to think, okay, well, how is this gonna be plumbed? I wasn't quite sure how it was gonna lay out. So this makes it super easy. You don't even gotta think about it. So I'll explain how the fuel is kind of delivered here. This is a feed line, and they give you an adapter to literally adapt from the factory line straight into this Dash 6. So fuel is going to feed up this direction into our fuel pressure regulator, which is preset, and we're not running vacuum to it. So that's just open to the air, and it feeds straight through. This is the return. We'll talk about that later. That one goes to your factory return. My car is an 04 to 05, so what that means is it has, it's not a deadhead system. So because it's not a deadhead system, it actually has a return line. So you just hook it up to the return. So fuel comes in, it goes through the fuel pressure regulator, and it goes past this high pressure pump. So it's just gonna go around this way. It's gonna feed the rail to all the injectors, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's gonna exit the rail because there's still gonna be plenty of fuel in there. I'm gonna upgrade the fuel pump to an AEM like higher flow pump. I'm also going to run E85, so it's an E85 compliant higher flow pump. Continuing on, the fuel is gonna get now entering into this DI pump. So if I can kind of pull it back a little bit, you guys can see there's a DI pump here, electrical connector here, fuel comes in, pressurized here, and then it flows out of this line right here. So this is the out line, and then it's gonna feed the high pressure fuel injectors, which are actually located way down here in the bottom. So basically, that's the fuel system. The return, like I said, is here. The line's not hooked up. It's just gonna be a Dash 4, and it'll just crimp onto the factory location. Fuel's all kind of in this vicinity, and they give you some of this high heat temperature, tubing, just to kind of, I'm gonna have a downpipe right here. So this is just a precautionary measure. It's not good to have fuel next to heat, but we're gonna do our best to kind of divide that, so there shouldn't be too much of a problem there. The last thing I didn't talk about was this added hose that I did. And this is just a race grade pressure sensor. Nothing too fancy here. This is just a 0 to 150 PSI G sensor. So it's gonna take gauge pressure from the fuel, and it's gonna transmit the information with this 3-pin Deutsch connector here to our Motec M1 ECU. And that'll give me, because this is an added system, this engine never had port injectors from the factory, I'm actually adding that. So that's why I need to add another pressure sensor specifically for my lower pressure fuel system. This one's left. Left is my side. And just kind of babysit it, because I don't want it to rotate. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna jack up this transmission a bit, and I need to put some these metal tubes underneath it. All right, I wonder if I should try to fit that subframe right now. Just try to get it in place. This is super fucking butt puckering. I'm scared. All right, give it a little bit of a lift, and then I'm gonna go down just a little to see if I can get it into that location. Oh, maybe this can't go on here. Try again. What I should do is, this is relatively safe as far as it's not gonna fall probably. So I should get it in the position where the shifter is here. There it is. And then does it stay up? To the bottom? Yeah. Let me do it, just because if it falls, then it'll be my fingers. It'll be an index finger, a pointer finger. Can't flip you off anymore.
Yeah, one of them is right.
Yeah. Okay, that's something. Okay. I need to get this into position. So I just want to kind of like line this up. I think that you could just kind of do like maybe push like this, and then I'll kind of drag. It's pretty good. How about the frame rail here? I feel like we should probably be back a little bit just because there's so many like obstructions. Let me take this guy off. I was planning on having this off. Let me drop the engine in anyway. All right, now the question is, what's gonna happen when we take off all this tension? It should be cool, right? All right, so you wanna just hold that real quick? Just give it like a little stabilization. I'm gonna let the trans go down, and I'm hoping this cart kind of needs to be as far forward as possible. This piece of plywood is super awkward. I'm hoping that it just goes down a little. That's pretty good. Ugh, it's stuck. Hold it really quick while I take the tension off of it. Looks okay. These bolts right here, it's a little bit crooked. Like just a little bit crooked. I think everything has come this way just a little bit. Do you want to try to push it a little bit? Okay, let's go there. I like that. Okay. I feel confident letting it rip. I know that slave cylinder wants to like do weird stuff, so I'll watch that as well. You're good, keep going.
I'm just trying to get a feel for it.
Yeah, the touchiness of it.
Good.
Yeah. All right, stop. I think way back in there, it's starting to hit the corrugated boot. Is that clear from it?
It looks like it.
Okay. And then let's look at, yeah, it's really close to the turbo, but not too bad. Oh, what about that? I didn't even see that shift linkage. Look at how, I mean the steering linkage. Look at how close that shit was. It missed it though, huh?
The water neck.
The water neck?
To the frame rail right here.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be close. Okay. Let's just, I guess go down. I think this is a better angle for me now. Go ahead. Yep. Keep going. All right, stop there for a second. It's on the other side of it at least, so that's good. And then now it's gonna touch like right here. So we're gonna have to go just a little bit forward. I want it to kind of go like that way, actually. Yeah, have a look at that trans. I know, there's a lot more down to go. Put these cooling hoses. It's close. I'm just wiggling just so I know if I could tell if it gets hung up anywhere. Because if it's moving, it means it's not binding, right? Still pretty good. Keep going. Okay, stop there for a sec. That's like, that looks like it's almost in height location.
Another inch.
Yeah, I wonder if I could throw these extra long boys in here. These XLs.
This lift has pretty good control going down.
Yeah, it's a bend pack quality lift, you know? Buy the good shit, you know? Got an engine in the car, kinda. kind of, sort of. It's probably this one. It's off like really far.
I think that might be actually good.
Yeah, let's get the jack out of the trans area. My chick asked me how I lose so much weight when I work on projects. It's 'cause stuff like this. All right, so V-mount install. I did this without you guys, and I want to just briefly kind of talk about what I did and how it went for me. So the main thing that you got to do to put the radiator in this car, which is the radiator is the bottom one down here, so you can see that, is you have to cut this off, which isn't too big of a deal. What I decided to do was actually drill the spot welds, and this bar lived kind of roughly like in this location, but vertical. So I just drilled the spots, the bottom piece came off, and then I chopped it straight across. But the cool part is that this is structure for the T-bar, basically for your hood latch. But what they do is they give you this beefy kind of strut bar that goes in its place. So you secure it to the sides with two M6 bolts. It fits really well in the car. And then what it does, if I can move these wires, they give you another bolt that triangulates this hood latch into the sides. So you don't lose any structural rigidity. If anything, you kind of gain some, which is pretty nice. So that's the solution for that. And that allows you to be able to mount this radiator way more forward. So it's sitting way out here. And then they also give you this beam, which is really nice. And then this bolts to the chassis of the car, and they give you some backing plates so it's all tight. They give you hardware, bolts on, and then you just slide this radiator up in. And then if you're running air conditioning, which I am, I'll be able to actually fit that unit, the condenser, right here. From this top point to this bottom point, it'll just fit right in. So it'll actually mount right in front of the radiator, but at an angled position, exactly, you know, parallel with the radiator. The upper hose is here. I haven't put it on yet. It loops up to a swirl pot, which is really cool. And then this is a swirl pot hose to the high point of the radiator. If you could see that brass fitting back in there. So they give you a hose from that fitting to this fitting. And then water comes in here and then to your engine. And then you got your fill. And then this goes to a overflow container, which mounts in like this general vicinity. If you don't want to mount it like in another spot in your engine bay, I suppose, you could put it on this triangulated bracket. That's kind of it for the radiator. And then the intercooler part of it is up top where you can see really easily. They do it a bolt on. So what that means is you don't have to do any drilling or tapping or screwing. And it's bolts to here at one pickup, bolts to here, factory location, and then they actually do a factory location right here, and then they just give you a standoff. So pretty easy. I mean, this could probably present better as far as visual, but at the same time, it's plug and play, so it's really easy to just slam it on. And I was able to actually keep this in when I drop the engine in the car, which is pretty cool because it doesn't pass this, and it's kind of like that's the engine compartment on the inside of this beam, and then the cooling section is on this side of the beam. If you look deep into that V, you could see that there's all aluminum right here. So when air hits it, it'll divert up or it'll go through. And you have to remember that air is always going to go its path of least resistance. So the more that you can get air to funnel itself and go through something versus it diverting and going around edges, it's always better. So always like kind of think about it as it's kind of like water. Air is kind of like fluid, and it will go path of least resistance. So try to always force it to go through cooling. And that's pretty much it for the V-mount install. And next up is to start hooking up stuff on the engine.